Hello friends, let us start again today with the model answer for yesterday's case study. Yesterday we gave a case study for which I told that model answer will be given today. Today again we will be taking up one theoretical question for which model answer we will be giving tomorrow. So now let us see what is that case study and what is the model answer for that. The case study of yesterday pertain to, I will read it. I mean, basically, a global tech giant pressures your department to award them a smart city contract, offering CSR incentives and political backing. How do you resist unethical lobbying without stalling development? So basically, this is the case study. Now we will try to see what can be the ethically approved steps which administrator or a senior official or the concerned civil servant can take. So now, first, I keep on telling we have to identify what are the ethical issues involved and stakeholders involved. So now let us see what are the ethical issues involved in this whole case, and then we'll try to see what steps can be taken. So if you see, the first is integrity and fairness in public procurement. This is very important for any government department, any government posting, because whatever procurement has to be done, there has to be integrity and fairness in that. So this is first important point. Now, second is conflict of interest and quid pro quo, CSR. He is telling that you give the contract to me and then I will give the CSR. So their conflict of interest and quid pro quo is also there. So this again second issue which is in ethical issue which is involved. Third is institutional impartiality under political pressure, because one has to maintain the impartiality under any kind of pressure, whether it is political pressure or pressure from your superior officers or from uh, any other authority. So that has to be maintained. Now, next is public accountability versus developmental urgency, because here now competing interests are involved. On the one hand, development is required urgently and therefore contract needs to be finalized. On the other hand, public accountability of whatever funds you are dealing or whatever the contracts you are giving, whatever procedures you are following, that has to be as per rules. Now let us see what can be the various steps or the actions which can be taken by an administrator. First is and foremost is strict adherence to rules and transparency. Now, this is very important because uh, this kind of situations keep on arising in the career of any bureaucrat. I have faced so many, and whosoever joins the civil service will continuously face this kind of, whether it is at divisional level or district level or state level or at government of India level, he has to face this kind of situation. So first point is strict adherence to rules and transparency. Now, for any government purchases, there are two, three very key guidelines in government that we have to quote here. So first is general financial rules. I mean, in short, it is called GFR. So general financial rules is one, and second is CVC guidelines. CVC guidelines on public procurement, basically. These two we have to follow very, very strictly. Now, these two mandate open, fair, and competitive bidding. Procurement cannot be influenced by CSR sweetness or political preferences. As simple as that. Second point is neutral committee-based evaluation. So we have to constitute a committee. If some technical issues are involved, the in committee technical members also should be there. And I mean, if experts are required, experts also should be there, or senior officers should be there. And the committee has to evaluate basically. So committee-based neutral evaluation has to be done. So constituting an empowered committee, technical evaluation committee, would ensure institutional decision making. Now, this insulates the process from individual bias and strengthens probity. So, the committee system usually in government is quite helpful basically, because in that you can have diverse kind of officers, diverse experts, and they will give their opinion, and then some impartial, some fair decision can be taken. So, and this committee system also avoids, as it is clearly mentioned here also, individual bias. So, because if someone single person is taking a decision, individual bias will be there. Committee is taking a decision, it will be more or less neutral kind of decision. Third main point is CSR must not be a bargaining tool. See, CSR activities are done as per Companies Act 2013. So this also needs to be mentioned, because Companies Act 2013 prescribes that every company has to go with CSR depending on their total outlay or total profit. They have to spend a percentage of that on their CSR activities. So CSR activity must not be linked to contractual awards. As per Companies Act, CSR is a voluntary and cannot form part of competitive bidding. I would formally document and report the coercive offer as potential undue influence under Prevention of Corruption Act. Now, this is again important, because these kind of offers basically come in the category of corruption. So, there has to be proper documentation, and there has to be proper channel of reporting, or sending a report, this such and such thing is happening and I'm not going to accept that, and this is my report on that. Now, what is the next step should be done? Uphold political neutrality and administrative ethics. This is again important, because see, under political pressure, you cannot deviate from contract awarding. So here again we are quoting, for example, Sardar Patel. He envisioned civil servants must be impartial in their functions. I would firmly communicate that developmental goals cannot justify procedural compromises. So this has to be communicated to the political bosses, that yes, development is required, but then procedure needs to be followed. And most of the political leaders, they do understand that, because if somebody is telling not to, violate procedure, please, you have to say simply, this cannot be done. Now, next step is mitigate delays with transparent communication. To avoid stalling the project, I would ensure timely, legally compliant re-tendering or performance-based extension models backed by public explanation to maintain trust. So see, here you have to do whole tendering process very quickly also, and you have to maintain public trust also. So there has to be a transparency. If you are going for re-tender, because of some reason, that has to be, some press note has to be issued, some publication has to be done, so that everybody is aware why you are going for re-tendering. And then re-tendering also has to be done in shortest possible process or time, because there should not be undue delay, so that nobody should be able to complain that because of the concern, that concerned officer, unnecessary development is being stalled. So this is these are the number of steps officer can take. Now, what are the ethical theories which are supporting these kind of steps? Let us see that. Now, first is Nolan Committee principles. Nolan Committee, as you know, was constituted in UK in 1995, and they gave a report on ethics in administration. And so that report has, several chapters, but the one of the important thing is that integrity, transparency, and objectivity should be maintained in public administration. So this is very important. Then Kantian ethics, you know, deontology of Immanuel Kant. Duty must override consequences or inducement. So duty-based ethics. So Kant has given duty-based ethics. All of you already by this time you may be knowing duty-based ethics. So this is from Kant. Now, next is second ARC. Again, another document which is supporting this, because second ARC was in India, and they have also given ethics in governance, big report. Now, that also advocates structural safeguards against lobbying. So, this is again, this document again is supporting the steps which we have listed above. Then Kautilya's Arthas, another Indian um, earliest philosopher and politician. Kautilya's Arthas the book also suggests that denounces state capture through gifts. So this is again we can quote here. So basically these 4 5 ethical theories and the concerned philosophers or ethical thinkers, their views we can take as far as this uh, steps which we have enumerated and can be justified on this. Now, in conclusion, definitely sustainable governance requires resisting ethical shortcuts, even in face of development pressures, upholding integrity in procurement, preserves public trust, and ensures that development remains just, inclusive, and transparent. So, I mean, see the integrity in procurement. So, integrity and transparency in procurement must be upheld at any cost, because I mean, I know personally there have been so many inquiries, so many disciplinary actions taken subsequently because the purchases were not made correct, tendering procedures were not followed, particularly CVC guidelines were not followed, or GFR principles were not followed. So all the civil servants and all the bureaucrats whosoever are dealing with procurement should be very alert as far as these guidelines are concerned, and they should follow. Now, this completes our studies, the case study. Now, let us go to the question which we will be discussing the answer tomorrow. Now, the question, I will read it. Empathy without competence is charity. Competence without empathy is cold efficiency. Discuss how a balance of empathy and professional capability is vital for public service delivery, especially for the marginalized. So this we have to write in 150 words. I will again read question once again, just to make the very clear to the viewers. Empathy without competence is charity. Competence without empathy is cold efficiency. This is a quotation basically. And now the actual question is, discuss how a balance of empathy and professional capability is vital for public service delivery, especially for marginalized. So the answer pertaining to this question we will be discussing tomorrow with all of you. Thanks a lot for watching today's video. We'll meet again tomorrow. Thank you everybody.